family and friends, and
Why the Sign of Three is the best episode in Sherlock BBC TV series. If you are Sherlock fan and watched all episodes of Sherlock BBC TV, what is your favorite episode? Correct me if I am wrong, but I assume many people would choose A Study in Pink. Personally, I rank The Sign of Three higher than A Study in Pink. In order to explain that, first one need to grasp the gist of the cases narrated in the show by Sherlock himself. In the episode The Sign of Three, there are three main cases related to each other: the Bloody Guardsman, the Mayfly Man, and the Cameraman. On the surface, they are unrelated, and even Sherlock cannot connect these three cases or solves them. Sherlock narrated two cases, the Bloody Guardsman and the Mayfly Man, as a part of his best man speech in Watson's marriage ceremony to show how marriage changes people and how valuable John is to him. Thanks to Mary, who manipulated both Sherlock and Watson to take a case, they happened to pick a stalker case. The show gives us a hint about who Mary really was. She manages to manipulate both of them at the same time. Despite her past, she was not worried about Sherlock at all. Rather than try to break the relationship between Sherlock and Watson, she helps strengthen them. If Mary was selfish, she would keep driving Watson away from Sherlock because Sherlock would figure out her secret eventually. Let's get back to the stalker case. A private named Bainbridge, a royal guardsman, left duty only 5 minutes, alive and well, nothing out of ordinary. Afterward, he appears to be stabbed in the bathroom, a cubicle locked from the inside, no murder weapon in his stomach, and no evidence of a second person at the crime scene. He almost dies and would certainly be dead if Watson weren't there. Sherlock asks people at the wedding just to show that Watson is a good man who saved life while he tried to solve the crime. But as a detective himself, Lestrade wants to know how the murderer did it. Audiences are given little clues to work with, and we don't even get to see the wound, so it's hard to imagine what the weapon would look like. Therefore, no clue who would carry such an imaginary weapon that disappears along with the killer. Sherlock did not expect anyone to know because he admits cannot solve it either, so the killer's identity remains unknown. Move on to the next case, the Mayfly Man. A man steals different identities of the dead single men in order to date various women, at least 5, making them think they dated a ghost. Watson told Sherlock that he misses an obvious clue. The Mayfly Man did that because he is a man or a married one. It seems that way, but one didn't need to go to this length just to get girls. What does not make sense is that he even dates middle-aged women that are not attractive. If he is that good at disguise and acting, certainly he would be able to get plenty of girls without that much effort. One of the ladies told Sherlock that nothing happens besides a romantic date. We can assume the Mayfly Man did not sleep with any of them because he wears disguises. He did not want to lose his cover. As revealed later at the end of the episode, the Mayfly Man looks quite handsome. Conclusion: Watson's hypothesis does not explain all the facts. While narrating the Mayfly Man case, Sherlock began to realize he is missing something fishy. How did the nurse who dated the Mayfly Man happens to know about John's full name and the wedding? The Mayfly Man ghosts her quite fast, and maybe he got what he really wants after i.e. information about the wedding, which seems odd because nobody needs to hide his identity just to attend a wedding unless he wants to do something illegally and doesn't want anyone to know or don't want to get caught. As turn out, the Mayfly Man does not simply date those women to find a way to attend a wedding. He's looking for someone. Let's assume that's true. Who is the Mayfly Man at this wedding? Sherlock failed to narrow it down, so he works from a different angle instead. Whom will he target at the wedding? If one cannot find a killer, at least find and save a victim. Well, we can exclude many people that can be found easily without attending this wedding. That left only one target. A person who keeps moving, doesn't stay in the same place for long, and rarely attends any social event besides this wedding. Only one person who fits the profile, Major James Sholto, John's ex-commanding officer, who gets a lot of death threats than Sherlock. Knowing the target is not enough. Sholto is a military man who carries a gun around. How exactly does one plan to kill him in the public event without anyone witnessing it? Again, Sherlock is out of his depth. Fortunately, The kid named Archie came up with a crucial clue to tell Sherlock. The one who attempts to kill the guardsman with an unknown weapon can kill in this wedding since he gets away before and is still out there. Unfortunately, this is the case that Sherlock cannot solve before, so he cannot stop an invisible man with an invisible knife. Actually, he and his weapon are not invisible, more like unnoticeable. People simply failed to notice when the killer did it. Now that Sherlock knows the attempted murders are committed by the same man, he can connect the two cases and look for similarities. Both victims wear similar uniforms with a tight belt, which one can insert a sharp object into without the victims fully being aware of. In a desperate situation, Sherlock finally solved it. One more problem remains. Sherlock has to find the killer before he disappears again. Both victims do not even realize they have been stabbed, let alone know who stabbed them. Therefore, the killer has to have some degree of control over the victims to get close to them and stab them without their awareness. Maybe someone who organizes the wedding has some degree of authority, like Sherlock, who takes control of the crowd while giving the speech. An invisible man. Who is the most invisible in a wedding? The cameraman. Just like the taxi driver in A Study in Pink, we see but don't observe. Nobody suspects the cameraman. He can go anywhere, does anything. This cameraman is also handsome. Most of us would not think of a man who looks like that as some kind of murderer. The Mayfly man or cameraman is brilliant to come up with a plan to kill someone in a meticulous way like that. Even Sherlock Holmes admitted cannot solve them at first. The fact that he eventually got caught tells us he's not brilliant enough, so he made some mistakes. What are those? Obviously, the mistake is that he did not learn from his mistake. Sherlock and Watson saved the guardsman before. He should not attempt to kill anyone in the event that these two are there. Let's pretend that he successfully kills the guardsman. It's still too risky to attempt to commit a murder at a wedding attended by the police chief, ex-army doctor, and the famous detective who treats crime like a game. The only thing he needs the most is Sholto's whereabouts. After Sholto left the wedding, he follows him and can always devise a new plan later. Let's not forget that Watson still has more than enough time to save Sholto too in case Sherlock cannot figure it out. The killer is overconfident with the fact that Sherlock cannot solve his case before. He did not even wear a disguise or assume another person's identity to attend this wedding, though he's good at it. As a brother of a new recruit killed under Sholto's command, he should have known he would easily become a suspect if Sholto got killed. Even after getting caught, he should play innocent because the state still has to prove he's guilty. Where is the murder weapon? Did he get rid of it? Is his fingerprint still on it? Even after proven guilty, Sholto is infamous for getting new recruits killed, hated by the families and by the media. It's hard for the state to give him a harsh sentence since his brother was killed under Sholto's command. The killer said he shouldn't try to be clever. More correctly, he should try to be cleverer. To sum up, The Sign of 3 is the best episode because it contains many interesting plots and mysteries. Sherlock only solved the case due to a desperate situation and a little help from the kid. After listening to my review, I invite you to watch this episode. Does my comment logically sound? Or do you think I got it wrong? Please let me know in the comments section.